What's going on, guys? Eagles Perspective Chelsea Football Channel, and welcome back to today's match preview for Chelsea versus Nottingham Forest on Sunday. Big game. I say that for everything, dude, but nah, it is in a way. Nottingham Forest have, I think, only lost one game this season. The last game that was against Fulham. I think that's the only one they've lost. I'm almost certain. I'm almost certain it's the only game they lost. They beat big opponents this year. They beat Liverpool this season, so you can't expect them to go down easy. They beat them at Anfield. I'm not even sure. It's something that hasn't happened to Liverpool in how long? Of course, they have a new coach, but that's besides the point. It's still Anfield. But yeah, Nottingham Forest, very solid team. And of course, our Chelsea side, 5 wins in our last 6 games. Insane confidence from this team. The A and B teams are both flying currently and looking to get themselves solidified, if not work their way into the lineup. So what I expect from this Forest team is to basically allow us to pressurize them and let us do what we want. I think that's what we're going to see. I expected that to be the same with Ghent. Ghent are a team I think where you kind of see that low block, but they came out and they pressed us high. And in that first half, you saw how we had to work them down a little bit after they had started to you know, allow a little bit more chances. But we made it happen. We'll see. Forest in essence should be a better team than Ghent. So in my opinion, I'm not sure if um we're gonna see the same type of domination we saw from Chelsea in this one against Nottingham Forest, but I do expect a good result for us. I do expect another win. We'll get into what my prediction will be, at the end. But I think we will make it 4 wins in a row at home, and making our confidence sky high before the international break. Personally, personally, I think this is a very good time for this international break. The last one I thought wasn't very good because the guys were, we weren't sure what we were to think of the guys, but I think this is a good placement. In a way, I think it'd be better if we just didn't have it as a soccer fan. Maybe you like international football a lot, but I don't. I'm not one of them. I like club way more than I do international. But at the same time, you got to do it for all these competitions or whatever. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But personally, I think this is a good time for it because I feel like if momentum starts to go, especially because of this Forest game. If we don't get a win in this Forest game, the international break comes at a good time because then you get a week to separate yourself from the loss. You get to think on it, you get to see on it, and then you get to Anfield. Anfield away is the first game we have back from that international break. It's a crazy hard game going to Anfield, but this is going to be our second test of this Enzo Maresca era, I would say. Second test, it makes sense. Because the city was the first test, but it's hard to count that one really as a test because we couldn't really see enough yet. We had not much of a sample size. We saw preseason, the Servette game, I think, one Servette game, and then that one. So you really can't gauge that game with that much. It's not possible. So this is I'm going to say it's our first real test of the season to say whether we are legit or not. Of course, Liverpool will come out and they're going to play harder because it's a tougher opponent, but Chelsea should do the same. But getting back to this Forest game, should be a whole load of changes. Let's hop into these lineups. So this is the lineup I've got. Pretty self-explanatory at this point. When he shifts 11 players in and out of the lineup each week, it gets easier and easier to decide who you think the starting lineup is going to be every week. But at this point, there is a certain position I think that everybody agrees on at this point. Who do you play? We'll get into it in just a second, but let's get into the full lineup. It's going to be Sanchez, Gusto Fofana, Colwell, Cucurella, Fernandes, Caicedo, Sancho, Palmer, Madueke, and Nico Jackson up top. It's the same lineup as the previous week. I mean, I would personally think that even though Sanchez made 2 horrible mistakes last weekend, I feel like you have to keep him in. Again, for confidence sake and for how Maresca, feels as a rotation. Sanchez is the number one for the Prem, and I think it'll stay like that unless he makes multiple issues at the back. Like that was the first time that Maresca saw it firsthand. So if it keeps happening, we'll have to see if he does make that change. Personally, I think It might come sooner than later, as much as I don't want to say it. After Sanchez especially put out that thing on Instagram saying like, my team saved me in this one after, we save each other. So hopefully he understands, like, in his brain that he can't do that, especially after they buy another goalie to fight out the position with you. So it's like one of those things where you got to compete. Most of these players got to compete against one another to keep their spot in the starting lineup. I think that most of these players want to play Prem games, as a starter, not off the bench. That's just my personal opinion. But getting into Cucurella, easy. Even though Vega played outstanding in the last game, I honestly think, like I said last time, Vega is going to be an outstanding Chelsea player. He's one of these guys who fights for that badge. He's one of these guys that shows that emotion. Gets in front. I mean, you saw after he scored that goal, he went straight to the fan's face and was like, "Let's go. What are you guys doing? Are you guys here?" Nah, so Colwill, Fofana, same back line. Not been impressed with Fofana recently, especially in these recent few games, but I have been very impressed with Levi Colwill all season long. He fits this Maresca play style like a book. Fofana, there's been a few moments where I haven't been sure with him, especially that mistake that Sanchez made, basically was a Fofana pass. But then you had the goal he almost allowed in that Bournemouth game. So it's a few of those things where you're like, I'm not sure with Fofana, but you got to keep playing them to develop that play style. And I didn't think Tosin was outstanding. I thought he was the best center back we had on yesterday, but I don't think that Tosin was outstanding. I thought he was the best, but not outstanding. And then Gusto, of course, comes back in the lineup. He's our only right back right now, and he's gonna invert. He's gonna be the one who comes into this spot. So obviously, it's gonna be that 3-2-4-1 structure where Cucurella sits back with the other three, but Gusto's gonna be the one inverting into the midfield. So, Fernandez Caicedo, it's been a really good pairing, and it's been developing these last few games. Especially you saw in that Brighton game, you saw Enzo for like a 10 to 15 minute period where he was killing the field. He was placing so many good passes. But Enzo, splendid stuff, man. Absolutely splendid stuff recently. Caicedo is probably the best ball winning midfielder in the league right now, in the league easily. I think that nobody comes close to a ball winning level. They showed the stats, I think, that show the ball winning stats between him and Declan Rice, both guys like same price. Dude, it's night and day. Night and day Caicedo is killing him. But Fernandez, opposite player, of course, but he's going to be playing those balls. I think that duo needs to keep playing together. I don't think that Romeo Lavia will start again. I think he might come off the bench earlier in this one, depending on how the game looks. Um, Sancho on the left-hand side, he's guaranteed himself that left-hand spot, especially because Mudryk has not been doing enough. Three assists in 3 games is just proving that. The confidence, the smiling, all the guys are so happy right now. The confidence is so high in this team. So Sancho gets the start again. Palmer through the middle. I mean, who else? Like, I don't even need to talk to you. I could literally just say his name and then just skip over it because it's that set in stone. He's going to play every, even if he gives me like a 4 to 10, he's not getting dropped. Like, he's not getting dropped. Madueke is the only guy that I'm not sure about. Pedro Neto has been putting great performances in. We saw at the Barrow game he scored. He just scored in the last game here on Thursday. Especially, it was a great goal. He almost got an assist as well. I don't know how Disasi or Badiashile didn't put it in the back of the net. But Madueke needs to show something in this game, or he at least needs to make his presence shown. Because in the last few games, especially, you know what? Since that game against Wolves, he really hasn't done enough at all. Like, compared to what that Wolves game in a few previous games, he hasn't been showing that player. He really hasn't. I mean, he's been in behind. His selfishness, bro. If this guy could just get the ball inside the box and not shoot every time he gets in that, it's great that he has that mentality. But I feel like for example, the last game, if he squared it to Enzo in the middle, it should be an easy finish. And it should be an assist, adding to your tally of goals and assists, man. So it's one of those things where you're like, okay, dude, you got to learn when to shoot and when to pass. You had 3 guys in that area he could have passed to, but he didn't. So he's got to learn how to do that. I think he's a great player, and I think he needs to still deserve this run of form. But again, everyone is competing in this lineup for a roster spot, or sorry, lineup spot. Just my opinion. And lastly, Jackson up top. Jackson, honestly, I think is going to stay as this striker for the foreseeable future. I don't see a way that Nkunku forces his way into this lineup, especially as a striker, because of what Jackson adds as that striker, making those runs through the channels he makes, and the ability to hold up the play, especially when you have when he comes deep to get the ball. Like Nicholas Nkunku, holy moly. Christo does not do that. Christo is a guy who doesn't want to play with the back to goal. He wants to get those passes and he wants to run. And you saw in the game yesterday, the main times he was on the ball is when he was getting that passing behind, the one that Kieran played it, or no, not Kieran. Zhao played into him on yesterday. Zhao played him a ball. He barely got a touch on it, and then Kieran scored. He's running in behind. He did the same thing with actually, I don't think he did the same thing with it. No, because yesterday he wasn't too involved in the game, to be honest, yesterday. But personally, I think that Nico does so much more as a striker than Nkunku can offer. I think if you combine them, dude, that's like one of the best players in the world. It's one of the best players in the world. But I personally, Jackson, I think, even if he plays mediocre, it's just about solidifying the finishing. If he could do that, he's all set. But personally, this is the lineup. I think most people will choose the exact same lineup. I don't think any changes will come from it. Um, Great stuff. I'm super hyped about this game on Sunday. So let me know what you guys think. Personally, I'm pretty excited to see what we'll do on Sunday. Of course, my prediction for this game, I think we're gonna get a. I think it'll be a 3-1 win. I think we'll concede a goal in this one. I don't think we'll have a clean sheet. The reason I think we will allow a goal is that our last few games at the bridge we have conceded, of course, in the Gent game or the Gent. Oh my God, it's Ghent. The Ghent game and as well during Brighton. Same as thing 4-2, 4-2. I just think we'll allow one. I think that they'll beat us on the counter or something. I think we'll be high up and we won't have the lack of defenders, and I think they'll score a goal. It'd be suck if it's Hudson Odoi again, bro. It'd suck if it was Hudson Odoi. But personally, I think it'll be 3-1. The goal scorers, I think Nico will get one. I think I think Sancho gets his first, but I think we'll get a cheeky Madueke goal. I think we'll see three different goal scorers in this one. Not saying a Palmer goal, but it wouldn't surprise me, dude. It wouldn't surprise me. He's absolutely brilliant. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think of the lineup. I think everybody has the same lineup, but maybe they don't. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you very much. Like and subscribe. See you guys in the next one. Peace.